Hello. My today's assignment is based on my work that I have learned as a student of food and nutrition management. And my today's assignment is Pecha Kucha assignment. As I am doing my placement at Woodhall Park Care Community, I have learned so many food safety practices so far. One of them is HACC principle and its need. My name is Amanpreet Kaur, and the role of HACCP in food and nutrition management. HACCP, which is expanded as Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point, is a system that ensures food safety and assists consumers to have a safe and healthy food. HACCP certification also holds a great significance for food industry because HACCP involves collection and reporting processes which helps legal defense if needed and provides information to improve supply chain and management inventory. What is HACCP? HACCP is Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point, which is a system that ensures food safety by analyzing and controlling physical, chemical, and biological hazards during production, handling, manufacturing, distribution, and preparation of food, and so many other practices that occur during food production. HACCP helps to avoid, minimize, or completely remove risks that could result in a foodborne sickness or injury. Who is responsible to follow HACCP? This function doesn't belong to food service manager only that are working in different food businesses, but also all the staff members. Food service managers' some of duties include recognizing and evaluating risks, defining crucial control points, putting control measures in place, watching the system, and maintaining records. HACCP is quite important as it analyzes, evaluates, and eliminates possible risks that are going to happen to food production and main food concerns like microbiological, chemical, and physical pollutants are controlled by following HACCP. It gives the foundation for production of food safely and focuses less on inspection and more on the mitigation of potential risks to food safety. HACCP covers all potential food safety risks, regardless of whether they are brought on by environment, occur naturally in the food, or are because of the production error. There are some steps that need to be followed to follow HACCP accurately. HACCP needs to be followed at every step of food production. There are seven principles of HACCP. These are hazard analysis, critical control point evaluation, establishment of critical limits, development of monitoring procedures, corrective actions, verification, and then documentations. These all seven principles, if followed adequately, everyone will have safe food. First one is hazard analysis. Hazard analysis involves examining each step, such as purchasing, delivering, storing, preparing, cooking, and chilling food in a food industry or a food operation, and with determining that what can go wrong during such processes. Some examples of hazards are like when we are cooking chicken products, there can be salmonella because of cross contamination with raw material, and it's a kind of biological hazard. Detergent contamination of uncovered food. As food is kept uncovered, any kind of sanitizers or chemicals used to sanitize the area around can get mixed with the food, and it is a kind of chemical hazard. Or a piece of broken glass falling into an uncovered food. Not only glass, sometimes hair, any of the equipments if get broken, their parts can get mixed with the food. These are all physical hazards examples. Another one is determining the critical control point. This is the second principle of HACCP. It identifies points in which Food operation can get contaminated or any food is under a hazard. For example, cooking raw food thoroughly will kill pathogens such as Escherichia coli O157. It's a stage when one can determine critical control points when there are chances to improve the food quality. Establish critical limits. This step involves setting limits to enable one to identify when a CCP is out of control. For example, when cooking beef burgers, the center of the burger must reach a minimum temperature of 75 degrees Celsius. This is a critical limit. If not followed, food can be unsafe to consume. Establishing a system to monitor control of the CCP. Once critical control points and critical limits have been set, it is important to have a way to monitor and record what is happening at each critical control point. For example, probe refrigerated food to ensure that it is being maintained below 5 degrees Celsius. Monitoring indicates that particular CCP is not under control. If monitoring is indicating that a CCP is not under control, corrective action must be taken. For example, the temperature of the food in a refrigerator rises to 10 degrees Celsius due to a technical fault. In such situation, the food needs to be discarded and refrigerator needs to be repaired using the manufacturer's instruction to ensure the correct temperature of 5 degrees Celsius or 0 to 5 degrees Celsius is reached. Establishing procedures for verification. This is the sixth step that involves verification, reviewing and correcting the system periodically, and making changes to your operation are some of the duties that need to be performed for verification of the food production. For example, when replacing an oven, verify that the time or temperature settings in the new oven achieves the minimum safe cooking temperature for a particular dish. Establishing documentation concerning all procedures and records appropriate to these principles and their applications. For implementing HACCP, it is important to have all the documentations and records. HACCP based procedures cannot be operated or cannot be in compliance with the current legislation if it doesn't provide the evidence such as written records. Since the HACCP based procedures themselves, the complexity of the record keeping will highly depend on the nature and complexity of the business. Establish documentation concerning all procedures is the last step of HACCP principle. The aim should be to ensure control is maintained without generating excessive paperwork. Staff involvement is also important. It is critical to ensure that along with the food service manager, all the staff members involved in food production are taught and that how to adopt HACCP and what is the system to be followed for, and it should be reviewed and modified to reflect changes in the food production. Safety programs. There are a lot of food safety programs, and one of them that holds great importance these days is HACCP principle. First of all, one needs to assemble the HACCP team, describe the product and identify its intended use, list product ingredients and materials that come into contact with the food, construct a flow diagram so that every process can be done in a sequence way, in an organized manner. Summary of food safety programs includes constructing a schematic of the establishment, identifying and analyzing hazards, recording all the processes, and validating documents. There are some quiz questions like what is the first step in creating a HACCP system? As we discussed before, the first step in creating a HACCP system can be assembling the HACCP team. What is the need of creating a flow diagram? And what are the critical control points? These are some of the questions that you can answer by reading this again.